I'm going to make this very simple for you, Dan. Men should not play sports against women. I'm not going to get into all the bullshit that's going on out here in the world today. If anybody thinks that, I think they're stupid. I'm not, like I say, I support the gay community 100%. I support the transgender community 100%. But I do not, under any circumstances, under zero, think that men should play sports against women. And if anybody have a problem with that, they're going to have to get over it, because I'm not going to change. I just think it's wrong, period.
Which are what? The science behind this, that men and women are different. And you can call yourself a woman, you can call yourself a cat, call yourself whatever you want, but the facts are what? Trans women are men. And the W in WNBA stands for women.
Before the game, you had a conversation with Sophie Cunningham.
I did.
If you want to share what you talked
Absolutely
about, feel
not.
free. But
Absolutely not.
More of my question is just how important is it to have those like in-person conversations with people that
I think it's
have
great.
different
Yeah.
views?
I think it's great. I think both of us understand that we have platforms, and, we both talked about, wanting to, more than anything, educate.
Charles Barkley has found himself at the center of another heated sports debate after comments that quickly spread across social media. According to the discussion making the rounds online, Barkley voiced support for Sophie Cunningham's position on fairness in women's sports, arguing that biological males should not compete in women's competitions. True to the direct style that has defined his broadcasting career, he delivered his opinion without hesitation or backing away from the controversy. Within moments, clips and reactions were everywhere, with supporters praising his honesty while critics pushed back against his stance, turning the discussion into one of the biggest talking points in sports.
I'm never going to think it's all right for men to play sports against women. And I don't even think that's controversial. That's the thing that's funny. Like some of this stuff make, like when you see these debates on television, like, yeah, men shouldn't play sports against women. I'm done. I don't want to hear you try to explain it to me. No, I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to argue with you. Men shouldn't play sports against women. I'm done. There's a lot of we can argue.
During a recent interview, Sophie Cunningham shared her views on women's sports, saying she believes girls and women's competitions should remain separated by biological sex. She presented her opinion while responding to a direct question and did not single out or criticize any specific player. Those remarks quickly became the focus of widespread discussion across sports media and social platforms, sparking weeks of debate among fans, analysts, and commentators. It's that broader conversation and Cunningham's publicly stated position that many people believe Charles Barkley was addressing when he shared his own perspective.
You don't see trans men going and saying, I want to play football. I want to play basketball. I want to be... Why there's no trans men going into men's spaces? Why is it trans women that's going into women's spaces? Show me the last time a trans man was on a podium in any sport. Show me the last time a trans man won in cycling, cross country, football, they played on the team, volleyball team, track and field, 4x100 meter relay on track and field, steeplechase, name it. Show me a trans man that have been competitive. Show me one. Show me one.
Since that interview, Sophie Cunningham has remained at the center of intense public attention. During several road games, fans have loudly voiced their opinions, and social media has been filled with both support and criticism directed toward her. The ongoing reaction has kept the conversation alive well beyond the original interview, with supporters arguing she is being unfairly singled out for expressing her views, while critics strongly disagree with her position. As the debate has continued, it has become one of the most talked about stories surrounding the WNBA, highlighting how quickly a player's public comments can become the focus of nationwide discussion.
Why the fuck are y'all booing Sophie Cunningham at every game now, man? This is what we doing to Sophie, trying to villainize this woman when all she did was what?
One of the moments that fueled the debate came during a road game in Portland, where Sophie Cunningham was met with loud boos whenever she touched the ball. The crowd's reaction was clearly audible throughout the broadcast, highlighting just how much attention had shifted toward her. Rather than responding after the game, Cunningham let her play speak for itself, continuing to compete and knocking down an important shot despite the hostile atmosphere. For supporters, it reflected her ability to stay focused under pressure, while critics viewed it through a different lens, adding another chapter to one of the WNBA's most closely watched storylines.
The crazies out there are now protesting her at WNBA games. So much so that a coach from another team pulled Sophie aside to have a few words with her and just let her know what she had thought about what Sophie said. Guys, Sophie Cunningham is probably the most popular athlete in the WNBA. If she goes bye-bye, there is no more WNBA. Additionally, have you ever seen Sophie Cunningham play ball before? What on earth makes y'all think that she cares about a bunch of crybabies complaining about an 80-20 issue? Literally, no one wants men and women's sports. It is highly unpopular, and the only people that do want that are people who have likely never played sports before in their life.
The reaction hasn't been limited to crowd noise alone. At several games, fans have brought signs and banners reflecting opposing viewpoints, adding to the already intense atmosphere surrounding Sophie Cunningham. Those displays, along with passionate reactions from both supporters and critics, have turned portions of the crowd into another part of the story. While emotions have occasionally run high, the broader debate has largely centered on Cunningham's public comments rather than her play on the court. It's an unusual situation for the WNBA, showing how a discussion that began with an interview has grown into a much larger conversation extending well beyond basketball.
Respectful, we were just holding our signs and cheering for both teams. And this lady, older lady, comes up to us, and she comes up to us, and at first I think she's gonna be nice, and then she asks, like, what are you guys doing? Something like that. And then it was like, Jesus loves everyone. That's what she told us. And I was like, oh, I know. Like, I'm religious. Like, I know. Like, I know. Nice. Yeah. And she's like, oh, I hope Jesus can forgive you for what sin you've done. And like, something like that. And then she told us that we were effing insane. And she's like, and she went like, insane. Yeah. She's like, you better stop this. And stop pulling this. Yeah. And for you guys to come God can save you. Yeah. She said, for you to come here and pull this shit. Yeah. She said the word. Yeah. Did she say effing insane or? No, she said the word. And nobody around you spoke up for you. No. I will say, Annalie, when I came over, you were in tears. Yeah, I've never been yelled at like that. I mean, I've had people hate on me on the internet, but like, it doesn't really affect me as much because it's just people on.
The controversy grew even larger after an incident involving two young fans at a Seattle Storm game drew widespread attention online. According to reports, the fans were holding a sign thanking Sophie Cunningham for speaking about girls' sports when an interaction with a Storm co-owner sparked significant backlash. Video of the exchange circulated widely across social media, prompting intense debate over how the situation was handled. Many supporters argued the young fans should have been left alone, while others viewed the incident differently. As public attention intensified, the episode became one of the biggest talking points surrounding the league that week. By the time Charles Barkley addressed the broader issue, the conversation had already expanded far beyond a simple policy debate, becoming a national discussion about fan expression, sportsmanship, and the growing spotlight on the WNBA.
Sophie Cunningham has said that males, biological males, do not belong in women's sport. That's it. That is the rational, sane, commonly shared stance. It's a safety issue. It's a fairness issue. It's not an anti-trans kids campaign, but this coach saying, oh, trans kids are well. This is what they do. The straw man argument. She is trying to say that Sophie is against trans kids and she's excluding them and this is evil. No! It's so dumb. It's so evil. It's so calculated. And this is how they silence.
Barkley's comments didn't end with his opinion on the broader debate. He also cautioned that leagues should be careful when responding to players who publicly express their views, arguing that how these situations are handled can have lasting consequences for everyone involved. That message quickly gained attention because it came from someone known for speaking candidly, regardless of how controversial the topic may be. As clips of his remarks spread online, the discussion expanded well beyond one television segment. Fans, analysts, and former athletes from across the sports world began sharing their own perspectives, with many offering different opinions on how the WNBA should balance player expression, public reaction, and league leadership during high-profile controversies.
So she just says what's true. She says common sense thing, and she gets so much backlash. She's like, men should not be playing in women's sports. Why is that so, like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's a simple statement. She stood by it. That's what I love about when people say things. Don't back down. If you say something, stand by it. And she said it. She backed it up. She's not backing down no matter how much heat she gets from certain people. It's an 80-20 issue. 80% of the country think it's true, 20% don't. The 20% is crushing her. Let them. Who cares? But I love that she didn't back down. I love everything she stands for. She plays like I said, I don't watch WNBA, but I like those two girls right there. Yeah, she's going to get backlash from the girls around her and other teams. And, you know, it's a liberal and mostly gay league, which is fine. I have no problem. My daughter is gay. No problem. I got no problem with that. But the way they push things on people, sometimes I don't like it in the WNBA. That's why I'm not a big fan of watching their games.
As the controversy continued to dominate headlines, several well-known figures from across the sports world weighed in with their own perspectives. Former NFL player Brian Urlacher questioned why expressing an opinion about competitive fairness had become such a major controversy. Former NBA player and analyst Kendrick Perkins took a more measured approach, saying athletes should be able to answer difficult questions honestly without having their character immediately judged. Shaquille O'Neal also addressed the broader discussion, suggesting the situation had grown far beyond its original context. Meanwhile, broadcaster Sage Steele publicly commented on the incident involving the two young fans at the Seattle Storm game, arguing that the exchange reflected poorly on the organization regardless of where people stood on the underlying issue. Together, those reactions showed that the debate had expanded well beyond the WNBA, drawing attention from prominent voices across the wider sports community.
Trying to almost weaponize the word kid and children to, dig deep on the feelings of people instead of the facts, which are what? The science behind this, that men and women are different. And you can call yourself a woman, you can call yourself a cat, call yourself whatever you want, but the facts are what? Trans women are men. And the W in WNBA stands for women. So I just hate it when words like that are weaponized. And Sophie Cunningham made it very, very clear from day one, when, by the way, she didn't bring this up. She was asked by an ESPN reporter about this topic, and she answered. And then as the controversy brewed, she went on Twitter and said the same thing, which is, I am not trying to exclude anyone. Everybody is welcome at my table, but this is the W.
Sage Steele's comments drew attention because they came from the perspective of a veteran broadcaster rather than a former NBA player. She argued there is an important difference between an athlete expressing a personal opinion and personally attacking someone, saying she believed Sophie Cunningham's remarks fell into the former category. As the discussion continued, more public figures added their voices. Former swimmer Riley Gaines thanked Charles Barkley for sharing his perspective, while several commentators and retired athletes also weighed in across social media. Although their views differed in tone, many emphasized that athletes should be able to answer direct questions without every comment becoming a larger controversy. Those reactions helped extend the conversation well beyond the WNBA, making it one of the most widely discussed topics in the sports world.
Sophie Cunningham's comments were anti-trans.
No, not even a little. Dan, she went out of her way to say, I love everyone. This is about science and fairness and protecting women. Because guess what? Until recently, women, we had our own sets of grievances. We couldn't vote. It wasn't that long ago. You really put it in the context of the history of the world. Women couldn't vote. We couldn't get, checking accounts without the husband's signature. All of these things women fought for. Women to be able to be in the workplace. All of these things. Now that we've gotten those things and we've evened the playing field, somehow there's this other level of grievance come. It's always about grievance. And this is protecting what we've earned, not about hating on anybody.
Kendrick Perkins later expanded on his views during a television appearance, saying what stood out most was that Sophie Cunningham had remained consistent in her message despite weeks of intense public criticism. He noted that many athletes across professional sports have made controversial comments over the years, yet few have experienced the same level of sustained attention. At the same time, not everyone agreed with that assessment. Some WNBA players, coaches, and commentators argued Cunningham's remarks contributed to a broader debate they believed required greater sensitivity and nuance. Others felt Charles Barkley's comments oversimplified a complex issue. The differing reactions highlighted just how divided opinions remain, with supporters praising Cunningham for speaking honestly, while critics argued the conversation extends beyond a single interview or soundbite. Even Brittney Griner acknowledged the ongoing controversy had become exhausting, saying she was frustrated by how much attention continued to surround the topic.
The face of protecting women and protecting girls is the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life. For one, she's saying that it's not about trans athletes. It's about protecting young girls. It's not about excluding only trans athletes. But you were a ring girl for somebody that has alleged allegations against women. Not only that, but being exposed by an old teammate for voting for somebody that has alleged allegations against young women and young girls. Young girls. Young girls, right? So all of a sudden, she's this face of protecting young girls and young women, but being a hypocrite. That's only one part of this conversation. The focus of shutting the doors on trans athletes being this big emphasis right now, while trans athletes are just minding their freaking business. I have not seen a...
Griner's comments were interpreted in two very different ways. Some saw them as criticism of Sophie Cunningham, while others believed she was simply frustrated with the nonstop media attention surrounding the controversy. As more developments unfolded, fans got a clearer picture of what she likely meant, adding another twist to an already heated debate.
Talking about when I say we live in a backwards society. Sophie Cunningham, a WNBA player, one of the most notable WNBA players in the league now, is trying to defend women's rights. And the same women she's trying to defend are attacking her. Because it doesn't matter what you're trying to do. It doesn't matter what you mean by it. All it looks like is you support Trump. And these women have Trump derangement syndrome. They don't understand that you're making women's sports safer and fair so that they don't have to get in a ring and box a man. So they don't have to spend their entire life training to be beaten by a man who wasn't good enough to play in the NBA. Like, so she's doing what she can to protect the sanctity of the sports that she loves. And you guys are attacking her for it. That is the craziest, most backward shit I have ever seen or heard, bro. I've never heard anything like this. So you don't want fair sports for women?
Before one matchup, Sophie Cunningham and Brittney Griner shared a brief, light-hearted moment on the court, a scene many fans saw as evidence there was no obvious personal hostility between them. The clip quickly circulated online and helped shift attention away from speculation, showing two competitors interacting respectfully before the game. That moment highlighted a key part of the story. While public debate remained intense, the players themselves appeared to handle the situation professionally. Cunningham has consistently said she believes everyone deserves respect, even while maintaining her views on competitive categories, and she has avoided personal attacks or public confrontations throughout the discussion.
Anyone who attends a Storm game. Cunningham also weighed in after this alleged confrontation at the game. She posted on social media, "I truly believe there is a safe space and love for everybody, biological girls, biological boys, trans women, and trans men. Everyone is welcome at my table. You can disagree and still be kind." She said, "Bravo to those girls for standing up for what they believe. You'll be hearing from me soon." And she added, "Truly embarrassing of the co-owner. Unfortunately shows the type of leader she is."
Following the incident involving the two young fans, Sophie Cunningham responded by saying people can disagree while still treating each other with respect. She thanked the girls for standing by their beliefs and criticized the confrontation itself without calling for personal attacks or harsher consequences. That measured approach remained consistent even as public attention continued to grow. Meanwhile, reactions at some road games became increasingly intense, with loud boos and fan displays drawing attention away from basketball. Regardless of where people stand on the broader debate, many observers noted that Cunningham's public responses remained relatively restrained throughout the controversy.
Want to come in?
She's covering your sign.
As the debate continued, more fans began bringing signs reflecting different viewpoints to WNBA games. At several arenas, supporters and critics gathered outside, leading security to step in on some occasions to keep opposing groups separated. The growing demonstrations became such a visible part of the story that local media outlets began covering the crowds and public reaction alongside the basketball itself.
How you like that? Grip it tighter. And that was so easy. Oh, get a good picture of me. So dramatic. Oh, yes, quite. That's them. That's them. That was
That was the atmosphere Charles Barkley stepped into when he finally shared his opinion. While many commentators avoided the topic altogether, Barkley chose to speak openly, and his remarks sparked even more discussion. His comments drew reactions from across the sports world, with some agreeing and others strongly disagreeing. Brian Urlacher's remarks also continued circulating online, bringing more football fans into the conversation, while Kendrick Perkins repeatedly emphasized that Sophie Cunningham had simply answered a question honestly and had remained composed throughout the controversy.
Straight. Sophie Cunningham can make publicly transphobic comments, triple down on them, and continue to play without facing any real consequences, averaging 9 points per game, by the way. And yet, the second that someone else pushes back on them, they get hit with a suspension and a fine. Like, am I reading this correctly? Cunningham's recent harmful comments about trans women and women's sports sparked an anti-trans rally outside of Tuesday's game between the Storm and the Fever. In fact, a second Sophie Cunningham rally, which is what they're calling it, by the way, is also being planned for Friday's game in Portland again.
Many observers believe the focus should return to basketball instead of every press conference becoming a debate over players' personal views. The controversy has continued to draw intense attention, with cameras following Sophie's road games to see how fans respond and whether the league addresses the situation more directly. At the same time, each new comment from a prominent figure, whether supportive or critical, keeps the story alive and expands the conversation far beyond the WNBA.
I respect Sophie Cunningham more because she's putting her career on the line, speaking her truth, trying to protect our women and girls, and making sure that they have the ability to compete and all of their hard work to pay off because they're competing on an even playing field. That is the number one issue to me. And I want to see more women go ahead and speak out about this because put all the other issues aside. This is sport. And in sport, it must be a fair and even playing field. And having biological men competing with women is robbing them of their opportunities. Number one, that is simple. If this is a sport, it should be about equality and fairness on the playing field. And this is not fair. All the other issues, protecting our women in the locker rooms, all of that, I agree with. But when it comes to sport, this should be the number one frontier issue, and it is not talked about enough. And we need more women to talk about it because it's stealing the opportunities.
Throughout it all, Sophie Cunningham has maintained that she was simply answering a question and has continued to stand by her comments despite the backlash. She has kept a measured tone even as the public debate intensified around her. Charles Barkley's remarks didn't start the controversy, but they added another high-profile voice to the discussion, highlighting that opinions on the issue extend well beyond social media and remain deeply divided across the sports world.